Hi everybody, Elisa here from Llama Unravel Crochet, and today we're here for another episode of how many yards do I need to make a baby blanket or an adult blanket, and how many inches do I need to make a stitch. The first stitch we will work on today is the moss stitch. The next stitch is the lemon peel stitch. And for those of you who are new to my channel, this is a series that I started. I do have a video on single crochet, half double crochet, double crochet, granny stitch in the round, and then a solid granny stitch in the round. And if you go to my blog, and I'll put a link down below, I will have a chart and all those numbers will be there, as well as the yardage for these, and it'll tell you how much you need per stitch, as well as approximately how many yards you need to make a baby blanket versus an adult blanket. So this is a series that I'm doing to help you. For those of you who like to pick a stitch and just make a blanket out of it, and you want to know, do I have enough yards? You can go through your stash and look at my estimations to see if you have enough. Now, all of my yardage and all my data is based on using a worsted weight yarn. So I use a J hook, and the yarn I've used to make all my swatches is Big Twist. Now let's go ahead and check out what the yardage is. So our first stitch is the lemon peel stitch. Now every block I try to do 24 chains, and I try to make it about 7 inches tall. And there's our moss stitch. So if you compare them, you see they're about the same height, but they're very different widths. So I will measure to see how wide it is, and I'll let you know that in just a minute. And it should be around 7 inches. And we'll do the math to see how many yards does it take to make a 36 by 36 inch blanket and a 60 by 60 inch blanket. Okay, so we're back, and we're going to start with the lemon peel stitch. Now all of my blocks, I start with a 24 chain of 24, and I try to make them about 7 inches, so they're a good size swatch. Now let's go ahead and measure. So this one is about 7 1/4 inches wide. Let me go ahead and write that down. And the height is, so this one came out to about 6 3/4. Okay, so we've got 7 1/4 inches wide, 6 3/4 inches high. And let's just double check stitches. So we've got 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 10 12 14 16 18 20 22. So that's 24 stitches across. So the width, 7 1/4 inches, is 24 stitches by, let's see how many rows there are. So for those of you who don't know how to count rows, it's look at the groove. So this one's kind of puffed out, that's 1. It's not as puffed out, that's 2. So we've got 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 15 16 17 18 19 20 21 rows. Now let's go ahead and pull it apart. Now one thing I did forget to do, hold on, I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm back. Now one thing I forgot to do, which I always do when I'm working on these blocks, is I make sure that my tail is 6 inches. So let's go ahead and measure. Okay, so we're gonna cut that. So that way each tail is 6 inches, leaving about a foot that I have to subtract after I figure out how many yards makes up this block. Let's go ahead and measure this one. That's about 6 inches. Okay, now let's go ahead and pull it apart. won't make you stay and watch all this, and I'll turn you back on in a minute. Okay, I'm back. Let's start with the lemon peel stitch. The lemon peel stitch for my block that was 24 stitches by 21 rows and 7.25 inches wide, 6.75 inches tall, it used 141 feet. So for a 36 by 36 inch baby blanket, according to that, you would need approximately 1,254 yards. For a 60 by 60 inch baby blanket, you would need, 60 by 60 inch adult blanket, you would need 3,471 yards. Now I added in something else new. This is for a scarf. I just did 8 inches wide by 60 inches tall. And for a scarf, you would need 473 yards approximately for a scarf you made using lemon peel stitch. Now for the amount per stitch, so single crochet obviously requires less yardage, double crochet requires more. Now I did this calculation for an individual stitch, which means it's the average between single and double crochet. So for one stitch, you would need approximately 3.36 inches. So, okay, the next block we have is the moss stitch. Now, this one is significantly skinnier, so let's go ahead and measure that one and find out what the measurements are. So it is, let's see, about 5 1/4. So it's about 5 1/4 inches wide by about 6 3/4 inches high. Okay, so let's see. So I did chain 24 on this one. However, with moss stitch, you go in every other stitch. So this is 12. So we'll just count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So it's 12 stitches across. And let's see how many rows there are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. Okay, by 29 rows. Now let's go ahead and start unraveling this one to figure out how much it is. And again, these ends are only 6 inches, so I'll be able to subtract 1 foot from the total I get. Now let me go ahead and measure it, and I'll be back and let you know what the results are. For my moss stitch block, let's check. That was 12 stitches by 29 rows, and that came out to 5.25 inches wide and 6.75 inches tall. And you needed, that required 104 feet for that block. So let's move on to our blanket. Our 36 by 36 inch baby blanket took 1,282 yards, and then a 60 by 60 inch adult blanket would take 3,547 yards. A scarf with this would be an 8 inches by 60 inches long, would be 491 yards. So looking at that, my totals are going up. Now, if we're looking back to the single, half double, and double crochet, the totals are less than single crochet, but more than half double and double crochet. So single crochet was 1,412 yards, and then my half double crochet went down to 1,149 yards. So both of these stitches, the amount of yardage needed fell between how much you would need for a single crochet blanket. It fell in between single crochet and half double crochet, so it fell right in between there. So I have to say it's pretty reasonable and expected for that amount of yardage. I haven't found anything that is a yarn eater yet, but we'll see for the stitches coming up. Now, before you go, I'd like you to comment down below, do you have any questions, or how can I help you further with the math for approximately how many yards you need to make the different size blankets? Also, don't forget you can check out my blog, and it'll have all the stitches listed in a nice little chart, and it'll be the 36 by 36 inch baby blanket, a 60 by 60 inch adult blanket, and also a 8 inch by 60 inch scarf. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and have a great day. Thank you.